Hey guys, we're inside the teen shop today. This is a place that nobody ever gets to come. We've usually got it roped off and kept pretty private back here. Today, we got some really cool stuff to show you. I'm Matt Waxler. This is our Drive for History right here at Wheels Through Time. Thanks for tuning in. Now this week we've been talking about teens era motorcycles, specifically highlighting our teens era motorcycle shop. Now the shop here, we've always kind of nicknamed it Shaber's Cycle Shop, and Shaber's was a dealership in Ithaca, New York. It goes way back to the 19-teens, possibly even earlier. Shaber's was a dealer before they were even called dealers. They were called agencies back in the earliest days. Now outside we've got some incredible signage, original stuff from Shaber's. The shop was reconstructed with kind of Shaber's Cycle Shop in mind. So the parts, the pieces, the tools, the workbenches, what you see in here is the genuine article. So one of the things here is that it was important when Dale built the when he built the Teens Era exhibit, is that the shop is actually a functioning, working motorcycle shop. So what you see in here, the parts, they get used. The workbenches, different bikes on and off the workbenches all the time. Really depends on the week and the day that you come. The tools in here, they get used. So one of the neatest tools, it's quite a piece. It's actually the only one that I know of. It's a Harley-Davidson frame servicing table, January 21st, 1921. So this was actually provided to Harley-Davidson dealerships and gave them the ability to make repairs right there at the shop. So the things that Harley-Davidson mechanics and dealers learned at service schools, they were able to employ at the dealerships. Now this table is absolutely massive. I bet it weighs, 400 or 500 pounds. It's a big multi-piece cast setup, and it's got, I think it says 26 fixtures to repair everything from motorcycle frames, motorcycle forks, handlebars, you name it. So again, the table was made in 1921. Actually, check this out, Steve. There's a really neat casting down here, and it says TI 910116 -HD. So that's the HD casting tag there. The table is a heck of a piece of work, and it's actually about as heavy duty as it gets. So forks on this side, there's numerous tubes for different year forks, numerous fixtures, I should say. The handlebars slide right up in the top. And this big bar here, we've got a few of these hanging around the museum. What this is used for, it's got hooks on both sides, and what it allows you to do is get onto the handlebar, bend it up, bend it down, and the bar itself probably weighs 50 pounds and allows you to get quite a bit of leverage. It's maybe, 5.5 feet tall. So I actually had planned, right while we're hanging here, I want to show you guys how easy this is. I've got a pair of handlebars here that I planned on straightening. These bars, interesting story. I actually was racing the motorcycle that these bars belong on in Milwaukee, and went down. Bike popped out of gear. I was in the brakeless class, and I ended up going down. Handlebars hit the ground, bent up quite a bit. I ended up breaking my ribs on the wreck, so I'd certainly had seen better days than that one. So these bars have been bent up for a couple years, and we're gonna straighten them out right here momentarily. So let's get this fixture. What I did was actually bent this bar forward, and after sitting on the bike a little bit, I kind of decided I like them forward, so I'm going to take this one. This is a stock style Harley-Davidson VL bar, and I'm going to try and move it forward. So right here. Yeah, a little bit of movement. Ooh. Ready? Here we go. There. Excellent. One small bend at a time. We're looking pretty solid right there. A little bit of scratching on the paint, but that's an easy fix. tell you, it's not bad. We're gonna come up just a little bit more. Oh yeah, there it was. So there you have it, guys. A pair of straightened Harley Davidson handlebars. Well, I'm actually quite impressed. It's a little more accurate than I planned on it being. But anyway, guys, Teens Era Motorcycle Shop. There's more in here than you can imagine. So much of it came from Shabers, excuse me. But the concentration of what's in here really has evolved over Dale's 50 plus years of collecting. So magnetos, gas tanks, what's inside the workbenches, nuts, bolts, screws, all for rebuilding teens and 20s era Harley Davidson motorcycles. One of the neatest pieces inside of the shop, guys, is this cutaway engine right over here. Now the cutaway was used for Harley Davidson service school to really kind of give guys a better understanding how the Harley Davidson engine worked. Common question among visitors is, how do these pocket valve Harley Davidsons work? And this is what we call I over E engines, intake over exhaust. It's easily identifiable by the single push rod and the rocker arms. I always say these engines work as much on the outside as they do on the inside. So this actually piece right here sits on the original stand, painted military green. It's a military service school instruction piece that is in completely original condition. It still operates, as you can imagine, and it gives you an entire glimpse of the inner workings of a Harley Davidson J model engine. So single cam, you've got a series of idler gears here. This is your oil pump. It actually works a rotary gear with a small plunger. Now keep in mind, these are total loss oil systems. It's not a circulating pump. It's just really a feed system. It's a limiter to be able to meter oil into the bottom end of the engine. These engines, the ideal situation with the pocket valve motors is that they pumped only what they consume. So drip, 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 drip at a time. So as you can see, you've got your push rods working. Cam inside, there's a pair of cam followers that really follow the cam a bit like this, and a pair of intakes in front, they lift the front push rods. A pair of exhaust cam followers in the back lift the exhaust valves. Now right in here inside the combustion chamber, kind of the pre-combustion chamber, now these are side valve engines, okay? It's not a flathead, but it's a side valve, meaning all the valves are on the side of the bore, okay? So piston goes up and down, all your valve action happens to the side of that. And what you've got here, looking at your 4-stroke engine, is a piston ought to be coming up and top. So you've got, well, let me get on that intake stroke there. So you've got your intake stroke right here, your intake valve opens, air fuel mixture comes in through the carburetor, through the manifold, passes by the intake manifold. Then you've got your, as the intake valve closes, you've got your compression stroke, and then nothing happening on the valves. As your compression stroke gets to the top, you actually make it right towards the top, just a few degrees before top dead center is when combustion starts. So spark fires right before top dead center, and you're onto the combustion stroke. That's air fuel mixture being ignited, driving the piston down, and then as you come back around, the exhaust valve starts to raise and you're on the exhaust stroke. So really simple explanation of a 4-stroke engine, guys. And right here, Harley Davidson JD service school instruction tool from, I believe this engine is from 1920. Okay, so you see a L20T 15046. Simple deal on serial numbers, guys, for this era. Normally your serial number starts with a year. This era engine, they had 2 sources of ignition. You've got magneto ignition, and then you've got electric ignition. Battery back here on the motorcycle in the battery box. You got a coil, distributor, generator. That's for powering your headlights and your horn. So your magneto ignition bikes didn't come with the headlights, the horn, All that stuff would have been accessory. The electric bikes were usually standard equipped with that. So this engine, being an electric engine, actually was preceded with the L. The L means electric. So anytime you see that L at the beginning of these teens 20s era motors, that's going to be an electric ignition motor. Next is your year, 1920. Next is the model. That's a Model T, stood for twin. And then next is your serial number, or your production number. That's where it fell along the line in production. So 15046, they usually started these VIN numbers right around 1000 or 1001. So this would be the 14,046th J model engine of this year produced. Quite a neat piece of work, and again, totally original condition. You can see that piston moving up and down, cutaway carburetor here, and really just one awesome piece of work. So again, guys, the workbench is in here, the tables, different stuff on here all the time. So you never really know when you visit Wheels Through Time. You get to peek in the windows of the teen shop. You don't know what's going to be on the table. The 1915 Indian here, incredibly rare motorcycle. This is one that we'll have running again in, I like to think, a week or so. It probably hasn't been run here at Wheels in 3 or 4 years. It's a 1915 Indian model D1. It's the only known D1 model. Now, the D1 was a racing machine, specifically a road racer, so it's equipped with brakes and a clutch over on the other side. So traditionally, your board track bikes with the drop style handlebars, direct drive, no brakes, no clutch, really all go. So the races were push start, flying start, and no need for brakes. You know, you hit the kill switch when it's time to stop, and really for the most part, you never really let off the throttle. So this machine, built for road racing, clutch and brakes to slow down when you need to. Some really other awesome other components on this bike. It's got, again, a dropped racing handlebars with original nickel plating, the scissor fork dampener. That's a suspension dampener, leaf spring suspension, as on all the early Indians. So it's a trailing link fork, and really an excellent front end. And as primitive as it seems, a lot of guys really preferred them to the Harley-Davidson front ends. Steering dampener up top here. Of course, this is adjustable on the fly. So what that does is tighten up your steering. So loosen it up, it gets a little wobbly. High speeds, they like to tighten these things down, and it really stiffens the bars up. Now, one of the things that's just, you notice from straight away on this engine is those crazy exhaust pipes. Now, while I don't have the history exactly, I can only assume it was some privateer racer's personal modification. Really, it lets out quite a bark when this thing runs. It's spitting flames the entire time, 61 cubic inches, and the thing is made to go. So guys, around the teen shop, not just in the teen shop, there's around the shop, there's just some incredible stuff that you just can't see anywhere else. The bike house, for example. Steve, check out the window here. The bike house, made by Kellman Burbach Company. They were in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, that thing's a 1914 portable steel garage. Okay, now the portable steel garage, you bought it on a pallet. It came disassembled. You put it together yourself, and it allowed you to store your motorcycle undercover without having to have a garage. So this particular example is for the single, the solo model. They had a sidecar model also. They sold for $30 and $50. So you can see the Kellman Burbach tag on the door. It's kind of a cryptic piece. Now, inside we've got our 1913 Harley-Davidson single-cylinder belt drive model, and it just makes for a great exhibit. This thing was actually found in South Carolina. How it exists today, I have no idea. The guy was actually storing laundry detergent inside of it. So rather than rusting away, I think that laundry detergent really soaked up some of the moisture and kept most of the bike house itself, most of the steel garage, dry. Now, as I said, Schaber's was a dealership dating back all the way to the teens. One of the neat things on the back of the building here is we've got the 1926 Harley-Davidson Schaber's Cycle Shop billboard. Okay, now it's an original billboard that my dad bought at the Schaber's auction back in the 1970s or early 80s from Schaber's Cycle Shop, advertising the 1926 Harley-Davidson B model. The Harley B model was a new 350cc flathead, single-cylinder job, small displacement, lightweight bike, really aimed at getting younger, lighter weight, and female riders into the Harley-Davidson family. And the 26B model here at the museum was actually Leonard Andres' personal machine. Leonard bought the bike, restored it, owned it for many years, and then sold it to Dale here at the museum. So it's been on display ever since. Now inside of the showcase, there's some incredible original material, really all about the B model. First thing you see on top of the showcase here is the original salesman sample for the billboard. As you can see, big blank spot in the lower right corner. This is where the salesman would say, this is where your name goes, right here. And as you can see on the big billboard, Schaber's Cycle Shop. The library book, Ride the New Way and Save Money. Now the B model was Harley's 80 mile per gallon motorcycle. It's featured huge on the billboard. And inside of this book is all the little bits of propaganda that Harley-Davidson used to sell their new model. This is an age of rapid travel at a low cost. If you traveled by your job and back by streetcar, you're spending at least 14 cents a day. Too much. So 7 cents a day by automobile. Ride the New Way, less than a penny a mile. So this is basically in brand new, untampered with condition. And it's on permanent display here at Wheels. So guys, Schaber's Cycle Shop, the teens era shop right here at Wheels Through Time. It's one of our favorite exhibits, really helps us tell the story of the early American motorcycle. It's over 20 something brands of bikes right around the shop. This summer, we're going to be firing dozens of them up right here for you. Appreciate you guys tuning into our drive for history here at Wheels Through Time. Make sure you visit wheelsthroughTime.com/donate and make a contribution. Visit our online gift shop or buy a raffle ticket. Get your chance at winning a piece of motorcycle history. We'll catch up with you next time.